Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was released in 1990, directed by Steve Barron, and starring Judith Hoag, Elias Koteas, and Josh Pace. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles tells the story of four Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles who emerge from the shadows to protect New York City from a gang of criminal ninjas. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Jason. You're watching Backtrack Cinema, and welcome to my review of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 1990. And we're going to find out today, does this movie still have the Cowabunga? Does this movie still have great action? Or is this movie just pure nostalgia? When I first watched this movie, I remember watching it in the theaters, and it was one of the most excited moments of my life. I was a huge Ninja Turtles fan back then. So when this movie come out doing a live action of the cartoon I love so much, I had all the toys, all that kind of stuff. One of your regular kids from the 80s and all that kind of stuff. And I was glued to the screen. This movie completely delivered for me back in 1990. And it has been a while since I watched it on this rewatch. All in all, I still had a pretty good time with this movie. You know, I see the flaws in it now that I just did not see back then, but it still has a lot to offer, I think, for a Ninja Turtles fan, for even just a martial arts fan. It's not probably going to be your go-to movie to go to when you put on a ninja movie, but it has its moments, and it certainly still has its fans. I've always liked the opening to this movie, where April, our news reporter, basically our main character, are linked to these Ninja Turtles, where she's doing a report on all the uprising crime around New York City and all that. And it's about this clan of the Foot, this mysterious clan that called the Foot Soldiers, right? And I like how they go through all this. You see all the crime, the theft going on, all that kind of stuff. And then she gets attacked, and that's where we first see our first encounter with the Ninja Turtles and everything like that. This is a comic book movie, so I feel like it is really tapping in to almost a Ghostbusters mixed with a Batman from '89 kind of feel. Except for it's really dark sometimes, and when we get to the cinematography. This opening fight here, I like how we're keeping the turtles in the shadows, and you just see the headband of Raphael where he loses his sai. Something I still love about this movie is how they introduce our villains and how they introduce our turtles. I think they introduced the turtles so well after this fight they had after they kicked ass and everything like that. And you see the shot in the sewers, and the Ninja Turtles are coming around, and they're jabbering, they're talking. You know, Cowabunga, awesome. We were cool, and shows them with the music and everything like that. I just like how they really introduce them, and where they jump onto screen.
Awesome! Righteous! Awesome.
And they look great. I mean, the practical effects of this movie are really good, done by Jim Henson and everything. You just get a nice little buildup of the turtles here. And when we finally see them, it is pretty awesome. The main theme of the turtles here is really, really good. When we're introduced to the Shredder too, we take all these kids who are kind of lost, these rebellious kids, give them everything they want, and you see them, you know, there's rap music going, they're skateboarding, you know, they're just having a fun time. They're not going to school, and they look at Shredder as their father. But when they introduce the Shredder, it's almost like this epic, grand Darth Vader kind of entrance, right? Where you see that camera over top of the Shredder, and there's a nice building of music, and then he's slowly walking in, and he looks fantastic and everything. They knew early that we had to introduce the Turtles in the right way. We had to introduce the Shredder in the right way. Even Splinter has this cool little intro where we hear him talk, but the camera's coming around before we see him. So love the introduction of the characters here. And really what you have here at the heart of the story, it's family and what it means to be in a family. At one end, we got the Ninja Turtles, who are just kids, right? They're just teenagers. You know, they're a little bit rebellious. You know, they mouth off a little bit. Their father, Splinter, the mutated rat, he's trying to teach them, you know, one day I'll be gone. You got to cling to one another and be a family, and you'll get through anything. You know, he raises them with the right moral code and everything. And at the other end, you got the Shredder, who's this father adopting all these kids from the street, giving them everything they want. But he teaches these kids how to respect him through fear and all that. And so you get two contrasts here of the turtles who are raised with love, and then you got the Shredder who's bringing all these kids, adopting all these kids off the street who probably already have problems to begin with. Maybe they have bad lives at home, teaching the wrong things and doing it through fear. So I do like how there's the central theme of family here, what it means to be in a family. This is not how you teach kids to be family. This is how you teach kids to be a family. And the Ninja Turtles, when Splinter gets captured in this movie and taken away, and this is where they're kind of lost. This is really the heart of the movie here, where they got to cling together, overcome, and you know, defeat the Shredder at the end of the movie by clinging onto each other, being brothers, because they're all just brothers, right? And so I still think the central theme of this movie is really good. All the Ninja Turtles are characterized really well. I mean, they got defined characteristics, right? Michelangelo, this party dude eating pizza, not a care in the world. Leonardo's the leader. Donatello, is kind of the smart one. So all their characterization's really good. And there's a subplot with Raphael where he's kind of the angry one, the loner, and Splinter's really trying to focus at him, trying to control his anger. He doesn't cling to his brothers. He's trying to do everything on his own, and is what gets him into trouble and everything like that when he gets basically the shit beat out of him at one point on top of a building in this movie. I do think all the performances are really well from, Casey Jones is great, from April O'Neil is good to I got no problem with the Turtles. I think the Shredder is actually pretty fantastic too. I do like his performances in here. I don't have anything wrong with any of the performances, really. I think the action's pretty good for what you're watching. You are watching a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie, really designed for kids. I mean, it came out in 1990 when I was 10 or 11, so I was the target audience. And a lot of it still holds up, I would say. I think there's some tonal shifts here and there that throw me off a lot now when I watch it. I'm like they're getting the tone a little mixed up, especially with the music and everything. At one end, you'll see, some good rock music playing around during a fight scene, and then it gets kind of campy and silly at times. You know what I mean? Which I get it. They're adding to the humor. They're adding to all that and with the music, but I find the music is like scattered brained sometimes in this movie. One of my favorite fight scenes in the movie is when the Turtles take on the Shredder, and they're just no match for the Shredder. The Shredder is just taking all four of them at once. He's just killing the Turtles, right? So I think the choreography there was really, really good. But you're entertained enough by the film. It's entertaining for sure. It has enough fight sequences, enough action sequences in it to keep you entertained. I do find the cinematography a little dark, a little hard to see at times, although I do appreciate the grimy feel of it. Like, I do like all the stuff in the sewers and everything, but even the shots of New York and stuff like that, this feels really, really dark. Not a huge problem, just a little nitpick, but even in the daytime, it feels a little bit dark at times. And we get this one character of Danny, which is April O'Neil's boss's son, who's drifting away from his father, Charles, and he ends up joining the Foot and goes back to the Ninja Turtles. Splinter tries to teach him some advice and all that kind of stuff. But I just don't find there's a clear motive of why he hangs out with the Foot Soldiers, like the Foot Clan, who, he feels like that's his family. I feel like they just should have had something to give his motives a lot more clear. That's my adult eyes watching that now, though. There's a whole sequence in this movie where they take off to April's farmhouse to heal Raphael and stuff like that, and to get clarity of what they have to do. This is supposed to be like the Turtles are bonding together. Raphael is healing from his wounds. They're going to find out what they're going to do, go get Splinter back. And I feel like this is supposed to be a much longer sequence than it is. I feel like they're supposed to be there quite some time, but it's pretty choppy. Like, it's fleshing like the romance between Casey Jones and April, the brothers, clinging together. They have a meditation around the fire where they see Splinter. But I feel the whole thing is absolutely rushed. I don't know all the ins and outs of the movie. I know this movie was one of the biggest independent films made, a huge success and everything, but it feels like there's scenes completely missing. And I know there was I know this movie was originally a lot darker, like the themes, it was a lot darker, the more vicious stuff in it, but I feel like there's this scenes cut here. It just goes from like Casey Jones and April fighting to them making up, and it just, there's no connective tissue, it feels like, from scene to scene. So I feel like there's this stuff missing, and it's forcing it to be rushed. And the whole backstory of how the Ninja Turtles became turtles, who Splinter is, his origin story and all that, he tells a story to April during this, and it looks like they just ran out of money and they took a home camera and filmed this thing. This part here needs serious updating. Now, I was not, I didn't read the comics of the Turtles. I was always watching the cartoons. And in the cartoons, Splinter was Hamato Yoshi. You know, he was a human who mutated into a rat. And the turtles, you know, the mutation landed on a bunch of turtles, right? In this one, Splinter was always a rat. And it just does not make sense to me because the Shredder kills Hamato Yoshi, and Splinter, you know, gets out of the rat cage and scratches the Shredder and everything like that. Oroko Saki, his name is his human name. You're telling me that this little rat learned all this martial arts and everything about ninjutsu by watching his master from a cage? I just think this. I think I like it a lot better when Hamato Yoshi was mutated into a rat. You know what I mean? I think that's. I don't know why they did. I don't. Maybe a budget thing, but I like that a lot more in the cartoon. I don't really like it here in this story. So, you know, I didn't look at things back then like that, though. I look at it now, though, and go, it doesn't make sense at all to me. That's me, though, right? So, yeah, nostalgia does play a lot into this movie when I'm watching it now. You know what I mean? I do have a lot of nostalgia while I'm watching it. This takes me back to a different time. Great movie experience. You take those nostalgic glasses off, you're gonna see a lot. I see a lot of more faults in this flick. So most of my negatives really are just from like a storytelling point of view, and you know, and some character decisions and stuff like that. But all in all, I think it still holds up for what it is, even though I'm wearing some pretty big nostalgic glasses whenever I go into this movie. So on your next Saturday night movie watch, you want to watch a ninja movie, why not go all the way back to the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and have a awesome kick-ass and cowabunga time? I'm going to give Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 1990 a C+. Well, what about you guys? What do you think of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Do you like it? Don't you like it? Does it hold up for you, or this movie does fail on every level for you? Let me know in the comments. Let's have a great discussion about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 1990. My name is Jason. You've been watching Backtrack Cinema. I will see you next time, and I will see you in the movies. Cheers.